Just look at the tools you need to do a simple brake job. And this one, this is on a 2018 Ford Mondeo, is simple. Some of the other ones, you need a lot more tools. And depending on how seized or bad it is, you still need more tools. But isn't it amazing what you need just to do brakes? Like, seriously. Okay, I'm going to go through the tools you need. Now, you don't necessarily all need these. Don't get me wrong. You can do it without impact guns. You can do it without drills. But I'm telling you, this makes your life easier. Now, because this is a stupid Ford and they have these stupid nuts on them, you need these special sockets. Now, the issue with this one is these have been damaged, so they're actually originally 19mm and they should be 19mm, but because they've still got the cover on, they're actually 19.5mm. So you can see I've got a 19.5mm socket on this side and an 18mm and a 18.5mm socket that side. Because if they go, you need, well, if you might need a 17.5mm. There you go, see? So what happens is I need a 19.5mm to go over these, and if the little caps come off, you might need a 17.5mm to go over it. Just an absolute nightmare. So an impact gun makes your life easier. A drill, because we're using these pads to clean the brakes afterwards, again, just makes your life easier that you've got a drill to do that. We are using some very special grease. Now again, there's loads of different grease out there. This is TRW grease. I've got loads of this, so I'm using that. It's good brake grease. Loctite, an old screwdriver, a hammer, a brake file, sandpaper, 19mm socket. Well, actually, that's what you need for them, but as you can see, look, it don't want to fit. Look at that. See, it just doesn't. See, look at that. See, won't fit. It will not fit. Anyway, a ratchet and a 7mm Allen key, an 18mm socket and a lever bar. And this is to spread the caliper open. Again, look, you don't particularly need this, but again, it makes your life easier. And then some sort of wire wheel to clean the slide pins, because again, it makes your life easier. Now, when it comes to brakes, there is lots of different ideas out there, lots of different people, and people go absolutely mental on the YouTube comments, depending on what you do. You can't use this grease, you can't do that, you can't do that, you should have done this, you should have done that, you shouldn't do it, and just, it goes on and on and on and on. Now, people say you can't use copper grease on modern brakes. Look, you actually can. I'm not saying it's the best thing for it out there, but what I'm saying is you can. You do not use any sort of copper grease and anything that slides, but for the back of the pads and stuff like that, look, you can do it. Yes, they do say it causes problems with alley and stuff like that, but again, by the time that actually really truly happens, you've got more issues with the brakes, you know, with rubber seizing and all sorts. It's not that the copper grease is going to do damage before the caliper actually fails. I don't care what anyone says. I remember talking to someone about this before, and he was saying, yeah, of course you can use copper grease. And then he comes out with a video saying about 100 times in the video, do not use copper grease. And I'm like, you fucking prick, because you're telling me one thing, but yeah, on camera, you're trying to be this kind of, you know, brilliant bloody thingy that, you know, anyway, look, it's just bullshit. That's just, YouTube is just so fake. It really is just so fake out there. Anyway, so there is other things you can do. I've done videos on it. When these slide pins get really tight, the rubber in here, the rust jacketing crushes the rubber. Now, I've done a video and showing you how to get a screwdriver and some sandpaper, a drill bit, sorry, and some sandpaper, and I did it, and oh, you can't do that. You're destroying it. You're making the hole bigger. You're doing this and blah blah blah. And I'm like, just people, you're unbelievable. All I was doing was knocking out the rust. Yes, you do not want to be making this hole bigger. 100%. I'm with you on that. But I wasn't doing that. I was just knocking away the rust. What would you rather have? A pin that slides nice and freely, or leave the rust in there and let your brakes bind up, overheat and destroy them? Like, do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous, these armchair mechanics out there who think they know what they're talking about, and they haven't got an absolute clue. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this brake. I've already done the other side, so if it's the same as the other side, we're not going to have to do anything with these. The pins were all nice and clean. They weren't binding or anything like that. It's just, we've got a huge lip on the disc. That's why we're changing the disc, and the pads are low. So this is just worn. There's nothing else to it. You know, the brake calipers were still working. Everything was fine. It's just wear and tear and a serviceable item. Right, hopefully you can see everything. So the first thing we need to do is get this clip off, and the easiest way to do it is come behind with a screwdriver and pop it off. Just like that. So you come in this side of it where the actual wheel studs are, and you just lever it back that way. These can be a bit of a nightmare to get back on because they're very springy. Then we need to just knock off these caps, and our slide pins are in behind these caps. It's a 7mm Allen key for this. And like I said, on the other side, these were fine. They didn't need going over extra. They just needed physically cleaning on the wire wheel, as they all will do. But they were nice and smooth within the rubber of the brake, which is obviously a good thing. And when I showed this on the video, and you know, people were commenting, of course when one person comments, everyone kind of gets on the bandwagon and think they know what they're talking about. So if you went to a mechanic and your brake caliper was absolutely perfect, and let's say it was 150 quid, and you know, that's 300 quid for 2 of them, but all you need to do is to quickly clean it, spend 15 minutes cleaning it. Like, are you going to spend 300 quid when you can spend a few minutes cleaning it? No, you're not. And if you go to a mechanic, you're just going to, these same people that says I was doing it wrong, they says, oh, that mechanic's screwing me, says I need new brakes, and they're absolutely fine. So you cannot win. You just cannot win no matter what you do. As you can see, this is what we need to clean on the wire wheel. Now, other thing you need to do is make sure you take off your brake reservoir cap. Again, these brakes can be a little bit kind of seized on there because you've got a clip that goes inside your brake piston, so this pad has to come off, and if the pad's kind of seized in there, it can be a bit awkward. So that's where an old screwdriver just comes in, and you can lever against it, and hopefully it'll come off. Now, another thing I'm actually fighting against is the lip of the brake disc. So we'll see if we can maybe knock this brake piston back a bit. There we go. Just smash. There we go. Just smash myself in the face. This will now come off. Yeah. A hell of a lot easier. Now. That's the clips I was telling you about inside the brakes. Now that one is kind of stuck to there. Oh wow, really stuck to there. Must have been sticky stuff on there. Anyway, and again, there's a big debate on whether to grease these and grease the back of these. And a lot of modern brake discs now, they do come with this anti-squeal pad. You can clearly see it on here, look. And it does stop a lot of the squeal. So what I have been doing recently, just to kind of experiment, is I haven't been putting grease on here or the back of the pads. And it's been working out for me. So look, you can do it, it's not a problem. If you haven't got these kind of pads, or these kind of, you know, these sticky pads on the back, then yes, you're gonna need to do it, because it's just gonna cause your brake squeal. Now, I'm gonna use this. This isn't binded, this isn't in any weird positions, and it's not, you know, bent over itself, so this is going to go back, providing the caliper isn't seized, which I know it's not because I've already kind of pushed it back a little bit with the screwdriver before it smashed me in the face. But this is just Easy. What happened there? Because it just puts it back nice and evenly. You ratchet it, and especially for double pistons, or even for, you know, 2 pistons here, 2 pistons there, it pushes them all back evenly, or just 2 pistons here, it just pushes everything back nice and evenly. And these are really quite cheap now, and you can use them for a lot of different brakes. They're brilliant. Again, don't need it, but look how quick and easy that was. You're not trying to put any big big pliers on here, and then if you push at the top more than the bottom, it could slightly kink it if it's out too far, and it won't go back in. Not that you do any damage, but it'll just, you know, just be awkward for you to get back in. It's just a hassle. It's a hassle you don't really need. Well, I can't be asked to need, let's put it that way. Right, 18mm, we'll get off the carrier. These need to be Loctited back. You can see there's Loctite on them, so we'll Loctite them back. But again, look, you don't need a gun. You don't need an air gun. You can do it with a ratchet, but it's just so much quicker. Now, what I'm going to do with my brake file, which is here, these are really bad. These are really good. I was about to say they're really bad. Look, it's just dust. Like, I can just wipe it with my hand. Look how clean that is. It really isn't bad. But what I am going to do is just go over it with the brake file, just to kind of clean it. This one I can really do quite quickly because it's not rusty. It's just brake dust. It really isn't rusty. So that's a good thing. And then just shoot it with a load of brake clean afterwards and an airline. Get the rest of the dust off, and you're good to go. Now, what I'm going to do, the other side, this was kind of seized, so that's why I've got the, well, I'll clean it with the brushes anyway, but it's seized because there's a bit of rust in there, but not bad. It's just enough not to be able to do it with your hands at first. You just need a little love tap with the hammer, but you can see where the rust is on the inside, and hopefully you can just see how big of a lip that are on these discs. Drill cam, drill cam, drill cam. Now you can see the rust over there, and now once I've drilled it, now this is on this where the main bit of the rust is actually is recessed compared to these bits here. So I'm not really worried about the rust. I'm just worried about these lips here. Now I'm going to clean that obviously, but I'm more worried about the lips where the brake actually attaches to. Let's do drill cam once more. You can just see the rust it knocks off. This kit is from Sealy, brake cleaning kit. Absolutely awesome. What I'm going to go around to do next, I'll just do it off camera. So I'm just going to get with some emery cloth, just clean around here, knock off the rust, and then we're good to go. Always a good thing to do is check your new parts against your old parts. Make sure same height, make sure they're the same width and all the holes line up and absolutely everything, and then you're actually good to go. Now, this is not, that's because of the lip. You see the lip of the disc, how much it's lifting it up. Now hopefully that'll just show you a bit better, just the lip that is on this disc is quite big. Some of this grease. Now this grease is kind of see-through. It looks white, but when you kind of put it on, it's like see-through. And again, people are so obsessed about the colours and stuff like that of grease and antifreeze, and you know, especially antifreeze more so than grease. It is just a colouring. Just because pink was in it doesn't mean that another brand is going to use pink. I've had things before where someone says, oh, you put the antifreeze, there was whatever colour and you put such and such colour. As it's just different brands. As long as you completely drain it and put it back in with the brand that is the right specification for your car, don't go off the colour, go off just whatever specification it is. This is just going to stop the bit of rust jacketing again on it. and hopefully next time it will be easier to take off, even though, to be fair, as you saw, it really wasn't that difficult to take off. Anyway, but that slides on nice and easy now. You know, I kind of have to hold it there. It's not, I'm not forcing. If you have to force that on, take it off, clean it again, because, you know, there's something behind it stopping you. I just need to put a load of brake clean on that and blow it off. All right, let's butter these up. Put some new Loctite on them. There you go. People losing their mind. It's supposed to torque them. It's supposed to torque everything. And these are the same people that put grease on threads and think when they torque it they've done it correctly. No car, well, so no, I'm not saying no car, but car manufacturers don't put grease on bolts and don't give you torque specs for it, because it completely changes the torque spec. They're not designed for it, and I've done videos to prove it doesn't work as well as you actually think anyway. But always good. Double check them by hand. But you see, it's funny because the same people who moan about me cleaning this, if I didn't clean it, they would moan. If I clean it, they would moan. If I put grease on here, they would say it's wrong. If I don't put grease on here, they're the same people that say I should put grease on here. So no matter what I do, like I said, I just cannot win. What we're going to do now is we are going to clean these pins. We're going to use this because it's easier to hold the pin with that. And let's get these cleaned. Now, very same thing. Use the same grease because that's what this grease is designed for. Like I said, there's loads of different greases out there. Loads of different grease, but as you can see, this grease is kind of like see-through. It's direct from TRW, which make a lot of OEM brake pads and brake parts and brake cylinders, servos, steering racks, you name it. They make a lot of OEM stuff for cars. Again, I'm not going to put any grease on here, on anywhere. Now what's a really good thing to do is check that these slide on and off. They go on and off really easy. And remember, there's a true saying, quality doesn't pay, it costs. And remember the true saying, remember, there's a true saying, quality doesn't cost, it pays. It truly, truly does. Just because you think you're saving money initially on buying parts, normally the more expensive parts or the main dealer parts tend to last longer, so you actually save money in the long run. Anyway, these can be a nightmare to get on. The other side just fell on easy, but now I'm recording it, you can bet your life it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. The way I found the easiest way to get them on is hook one in first, like that, and make sure it's over. Then just push the next one in, but get it over there. So as you can see, I've now pushed it over the lip there like that, but it's still sticking out there. And then with a hammer, just bend this in and tap it at the same time. There we go. See? That fell in too. So it's fairly simple when you do that, because these two things have to bend out and they just put pressure on there. It keeps it's an anti-rattle clip basically. It doesn't, if you didn't have it, brakes will still work, they would just rattle. And they might wear funny and stuff, but I mean, they're still going to stop you. But there we go, we are all done. Bang on the wheel again with the stupid, utter stupid Ford. If I get close, you can actually see, look at the damage that's on there. And yes, granted, I'm not saying it's not air guns that do that, and I'm using an air gun on it and blah, blah, blah. But no other manufacturer uses these stupid nuts. It's not as if they need to. When the, that's 19.5 mil will fit. So you can see, look, that fits on. 19 mil will not fit. But when this little cover pops off, you then need, well, either an 18.5 mil, just depends on the size. But normally when that cover comes off, it's normally about 0.5 mil that it takes off. So the 18.5 mil will come into play on the 19mm nuts, and on the 17mm nuts, the 16.5mm comes into play. If they're damaged on the 17.5, on the 17mm nuts, the 17.5mm comes into play. I've got a few more of them as well, a few more different sizes. They are handy, but they're just another tool you have to buy because someone thought this is a good idea where it just isn't. But you can buy replacements, not from Ford, I don't think, but I know you can buy them in the aftermarket side, replacements for all the Fords that are the standard, you know, 17 or 19mm. They don't have this stupid cover on, and they work really well. I've put a couple of sets on for people. I don't know how much they are because the people have got their own sets, but yeah, they've worked wonders. So look, I'm just going to bang on the wheel. I'm just going to clean all this with brake clean. Where's my brake clean? Where is it? Yeah. All the grease and crap and everything off that I put on. I need a bit more brake clean. So let me just clean that off, bang the wheel back on, but I'm done. But as always, hope it helps. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget, links up here, links down below, but most important, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.